Welcome back, guys.
Welcome back,
Episode
welcome
2 of Unplug Podcast. Plug. I feel like we need like a little
jingle.
jingle.
We'll work on that.
We'll work on that. All right, cool. So, how's your week doing, my bro?
It's been good. I've got a little personal project that I'm kind of working on. I'm kind of moving into the digital writing space, so kind of building my own personal brand. So I've been working on like how to write impactfully, like you know, how to all around like copywriting, persuasion. So you know, when you want people to kind of do something, there's a way to do it. So I've been learning about that. Really excited about it, man. It's kind of taken me on another journey of having a second business. I'm really excited about building that. Just
fun.
Yeah,
Fun.
Yeah. How about you? How's your week been?
It's good. Obviously it's Q4 for us, so naturally it's winter time, so it's a bit slower. Cold winter, bro. Shivering. I know I'm wearing a tee right now, but I'm freezing, bro. I'm freezing.
Low occupancy,
bro. Begging these contractors to stay with me, bro. I get free check-in. But inside Airbnb, probably managed joke. But yeah, obviously just preparing the team, clients' expectations for sort of Q4, and just kind of getting ready. I'm kind of ready for the next year, bro. I don't know about you, but I'm starting to kind of get this drive of like, yeah, I'm ready for 2025. I feel like 2023 just flew by. 2024, flew by. But yeah, I'm ready for 2025. So I'm excited. Got a few holidays planned, going to Tunisia in November and Dubai in December. So I'm also kind of excited for that. Nice little break, meet some new people. Bit of networking as well in Dubai. Drive some fast cars.
I might have to meet you out there. Dubai is my place.
I know,
man.
bro. That's like your second home, bro.
I know. I love Dubai.
I know. Yeah, you love it.
You might just see me zip past you in a Lambo.
In the Urus.
In the skirt.
But yeah, cool. But that's good. But yes, today, guys, we want to talk about goal setting. I think it's a very important topic to discuss, and I think goal setting is very important because I feel like quite easily you can walk or live quite aimlessly. And I think setting a goal, having goals in place can support you in achieving that next step in your life, journey, career, relationship, or whatever that may be. So yeah, I don't know if you kind of want to give a bit of an insight of your perspective on what goal setting is
I think,
first.
Yeah, totally. I think for me, goal setting is setting things that you want to do or thinking of things that you want to do that are realistic. Because what you don't want to do is set goals that are just not realistic. Like me trying to be, you know, if you've never had your own business before and you're talking about making $1 million in 6 months or 3 months, it's not realistic.
Yeah, of course.
I think we spoke about it. Your goals need to be kind of, you know, using the acronym SMART. But I think why goals are important for me personally is because they are what I call my North Star. They give me some direction. You know, if at any given time I'm not sure what to do, I look up at my North Star and think, is this decision that I'm about to make going to help me get closer to my North Star? And if it's not, I need to not do whatever that is, right? So I feel like the goals, the objectives, the aims, whatever you want to call it, they help lay the plan, they help lay the blueprint, they give you direction, they tell you what you need to do. One of the biggest things I like to do is reverse engineer anything I'm going to do. So if I'm like, all right, cool, like for example, with this new digital writing business that I am building, my thing is like, I need to turn this into a 6-figure business within the next 12 months. Right, cool, let's reverse engineer that. What does that look like? That now means learning how to write impactfully as a step. It now means building a personal brand. It now means learning how to build followers on various different social media platforms. Like there's a lot to it. So in kind of reversing engineering your goal, it tells you kind of what you need to do. And that's why for me, it's so important because you pretty much lay the blueprint and the plan. So yeah.
Yeah, no, I echo that as well. I think for me, goal setting provides clarity. It provides clarity. It provides perspective, a vision, and it's also an opportunity for like the small wins. Like we always talk about small wins. I know off camera as well. Like it's that sort of gratification. It gives you the confidence to keep on going, even though it's tough. And it allows you to be a bit more resilient. So I think, you know, goal setting is an amazing way to sort of really sort of drive and achieve what you need to achieve. But I think I think it would also be good to kind of discuss like what's the downside?
Mm-hmm.
Like what happens when like we don't have goals in place, or we don't set our goals in place,
Mm-hmm.
or like maybe like we don't set them correctly. Like we say, okay, I want to, like you like clearly said, you know, you are setting up this new sort of this new business, and you wanted to be able to do 6 figures within 12 months. Why can not someone just say I wanted to reach 6 figures? Like why am I limiting myself by time? One could say.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think obviously just to answer that, I feel like time adds like priority, I guess.
Yeah.
It kind of like when you give something a deadline and a time, it kind of forces you to not slack. Like it forces you to be on it. Like you can't slack around, and you're accountable to yourself.
100.
Do you know what I mean? So you say to yourself, like, right, I'm accountable to myself. If I don't, I'm only letting myself down.
Yeah.
And no one really wants to let themselves down.
Of course.
In that regard, I think in regards to why it's so important to have goals, I read something the other day and it was kind of like, if you don't have your own goals, you will be assigned your goals. Do you know what I mean?
Oy.
Like if you
Read that again.
not have your own goals, you will be assigned goals, and they won't be your goals. They'll be somebody else's goals. Somebody else's goals who ultimately you're helping achieve their goals. So you either help someone else achieve their goals, or you have your own goals.
Powerful.
And that is it.
Powerful.
That is it within a nutshell. So, yeah, heard that. It was like, but I think for me, I've always kind of known the importance of goals anyway. Just like I said, it kind of gives you direction. Like it allows you to not get distracted by things that don't matter. So again, it's like, you know, you set out what you need to do because you know what your goals are, and you've hopefully taken the time out to see what you need to do to hit those goals, maybe learn from a mentor, invested in some education to kind of learn. So yeah, it allows you to kind of stay away from things. Like I said, the world is full of distractions. And if you can have goals, the goals that you set yourself, if you're serious about changing your life, prevent you from being distracted. Because you know, so I'm doing this digital writing, is me now, I don't know, going out every weekend going to help me, you know, launch a 6-figure digital writing business in 12 months? Probably not. Probably not. So again, it allows you to kind of stay away from things that are ultimately not going to help you achieve your goals. So that's kind of the where I'm at. What about you? What's your kind of views? And
yeah, I think, yeah, I echo a lot of what you said. Like in terms of like the downside, like you can, again, going back to what I said, why it's so important, like you can be quite aimless. Like it doesn't create a lot of vision. Like and obviously I know sort of like Q2 for us is sort of when we like to acquire properties. And obviously we spoke about the sort of locations of where we want to acquire properties. But then sometimes, you know, and I'm always guilty of trying to get another deal.
Moving the goalpost.
Always moving
Hold
the
that thought for a second. I think it's quite important for the viewers to kind of know what we do, just for like just a bit of clarity.
Yeah,
like hearing us talk about Q2, Airbnb, and what is it that you guys do, innit?
So essentially, me and John both run property management businesses, and we specialize in service accommodation, sometimes known as short-term rentals, Airbnbs, or holiday rentals. And basically what we do is we lease properties from property owners, so we control them, we provide them a guaranteed rent, and we take care of all the maintenances and etc. And we run that as a company let. So we're sort of subleasing the legal way, if you want to dumb it down. And then what we do is we have contracts with working professionals and corporates who are staying in that area, who would like to stay there on a short-term basis, and we charge them on a night-by-night basis. And the difference of what we charge our guests is our profit from what we pay the landlord and the bills associated. And what I was sort of referring to earlier in regards to our acquisition period, so this is when we start looking for properties, is sort of, you know, the start of Q2, which is kind of like March, April, because in the service accommodation business, we have quiet seasons, which is wintertime. Hence why it's freezing. So, so it's quite quiet now. So it's not ideal you acquire a property unless if, like we always say, unicorn, which is just like an absolute bang of a property. So like it needs to be like, extenuating circumstances as to why you're acquiring a property outside the correct seasons. Because what means if you acquire a property in the wintertime in September, you now need to carry through September, October, November, December, January, which are standardly slow seasons, and it's quite tough for yourself, and it's going to affect cash flow, etc. So ideally, from March onwards, you want to start acquiring property because we're coming, into summer. So higher occupancy, people are traveling more, we can charge more, and etc. But yeah, hopefully that provides a bit of clarity. And if you guys do want us, us to talk a bit more about what we do, please feel free to let us know in the comments. But yeah, so I was like, thing for me is like, we understood our patch in terms of, obviously we operate all over the country, but we understood that our patch of where we can have a significant higher amount of returns and a lot quicker. But then sometimes I'll just sort of be drawn out, by a little, it's not really a unicorn.
Distracted.
I don't like that word. But yeah. Well, yeah, you're distracted. That's what we're being real. But distracted by something outside of my scope, outside of my goals that I've set myself. And going back to like what you said, is it going to help me achieve what I want to achieve? And if the answer, and a lot of the answers are either yes or no. Like there's nothing blurred in between.
And you got to be honest with
Yeah,
yourself.
you have to
get real with yourself.
You have to be. And then there becomes a domino. Is that, am I saying that right? Domino effect. So
Yes.
a domino effect of like, if you now start blurring the lines and things start to get grayer and grayer and grayer, you now no longer have goals that you set. You're just cruising, as we've said. So it's important to be disciplined and to be strict on yourself and say, okay, cool, I'm setting up this business, or I'm going to be acquiring properties only within this time frame, and unless there's like sort of unique circumstances or whatever that may be. But I just try to be as disciplined as possible. And I think the importance, and the sort of like to answer your question in short, like the importance of this is like, it will allow, in personal speaking, allow myself to be on track, in terms of what I want to achieve and when I want to achieve it by. And then once I've checkboxed that, I can now start moving on to my next thing. So I think that's the most important thing. It just allows clarity and focus, and I can focus and channel my resources onto this one thing, as opposed to sort of like spreading myself thin, working on different little bits and pieces. So.
No, definitely. And I think one thing it does, it helps you kind of build momentum.
Yeah.
It's like you're slowly building up, you're ticking that, I did that, I did that. You, like I said, you think of your big goal, this is what I'm trying to achieve. Step 1 is this. Cool, done that. Step 2 is that. Cool, done that. You start to build momentum. You start to, okay, I'm starting to, you know what I mean? The train's starting to move now, slowly. Yeah, choo. We're on our way now. So I think that also helps as well. Just, building momentum, like setting goals, building momentum, building confidence. It's a great way, it's a great way. So,
and that's really good. But obviously, as you know, we're all about practical advice.
Of course.
So, like, again, 3 to 4 steps. Let's call it 3 steps. How would your average Joe go about setting goals? How would you go about setting the goals? Or how do you go about setting goals?
Do you know what I've realized? And again, I'm constantly trying to like self-educate myself and kind of evolve my mindset. And before, I used to think that, you should have like multiple goals, like various different goals and things that you want to do. And I still agree somewhat, but I feel like I read a book once, it's called The One Thing. And it talks about the importance of concentrating on one thing at a time. Now I understand that at any given time, there's going to be various different things in your life that you want to achieve.
Of course.
But to try and achieve all these different things in all different areas of your life, something's going to suffer. Something's going to give.
Something's going to give, 100%.
So I feel like you've got to identify what is the most important goal. We call that like our, what's the word that we call it? I've forgotten the word. It will come back to me. But basically, what you're trying to do is identify from all these goals that you have, and it may be 3 or 4, which is the most important one, and go all in on that. Put all your energy and your focus into that, because if you've got a goal over there that requires you to do that, and you've got a goal over there that you're splitting your time.
100%.
So that's getting 25%, that's getting 35%, that's getting 25%.
Yeah, it's not,
So it's taking longer. Whereas
Exactly.
if you focus solely 100% on achieving that goal,
Yeah.
you're going to achieve that goal quicker, then you can quickly move on to the next.
Exactly.
So that's, for me, step 1 would be figure out what's your most important goal and go all in on that. Build up consistency, build up discipline, so you get used to working on something and achieving some level of success. Then it makes hitting the next goals easier.
Yeah, exactly. Especially now you've got the hardest one out the way.
Exactly. And we know that if you ever set goals, you want to try and probably work on the one that's the hardest to achieve. You knock that one out the park first. and then achieving the other ones just becomes
a lot easier.
Yeah. Ultimately. So yeah.
No, I'm with you. I echo that as well. I think having a priority of goals. I do also agree that yes, you do need to have one goal and an absolute focus, but sometimes when you're working on a goal, it can have like trickle effects on the sort of sub priority goals. So like, I know for me at the start of this year, you know, me and my business partner Elliot, like our big focus was systemization. Our operations were just scatty. Absolutely.
I remember.
It drove me out. My clients are watching. No, jokes. But you know, jokes aside, yeah, absolutely scatty. He always used to say, like, bro, like, we're a 6-figure WhatsApp business. Like, our communication was just all done on WhatsApp. I was getting like 100 WhatsApp messages a day. Like, it's ridiculous. So, you know, we drawed back, we stopped acquiring properties, and we just focused. We took some of our staff off on certain projects that we're working on. Said, guys, we need to just focus on our systems, our communications, and how we flow as a business. And then that was the biggest priority for us. But then naturally, because we were able to achieve that, we set ourselves the deadline to do this within a quarter, so in about 3 to 4 months. And, you know, I'm happy to say that we have achieved that. But because of that, now that we're more systemized, it means that my team are spending less time working on tasks that don't necessarily generate the business any revenue, and we can now focus on other things. Because another one of my sub-priorities, my next priorities, was start getting, you know, direct bookings, like, you know, not relying on Airbnb and Booking.com, start getting more bookings to my website now. So me focusing on that top priority, like you just mentioned, and putting my whole 100%, you know, and even though it's a bit painful, because you go, oh, I'd rather like have my team working on that and doing this and doing that. Like we just attack this objective. All at the same time, on our goal was to make sure that we're fully systemized end to end within the quarter, 3 to 4 months. And we achieved that. And because we achieved that, it made our sub priorities so much easier to work on. Because we built all the SOPs, the standard operating procedures, and my team now easily were able to start getting more direct bookings and increasing revenue. My team will now easily knew the processes and the framework of how we communicate to our guests. So it was hard, but then like now you're just sort of like on a roll of just like, yeah, gratification. Like, yes, like it's so relieving. Like it was so hard. We finally achieved it, and now we're achieving all of our sort of sub priorities, and now you're just on a high now. You're just on a high of like, yes, like now what next? What's the next big one? You know? So yeah, that for me is sort of
that's good.
The other one in terms of like the first step.
That makes sense. So I think for me, step 2 now, I think obviously, you know, once you set yourself a goal, there's gonna be things that need to be done to achieve that goal, right? And naturally you think to yourself that you have to do all those things, right? You naturally think, because this is my goal, I have to do everything. But I've learned that's not always the case. Like
100%.
I've learned in business, to be successful, you have to leverage other people. You have to leverage resources. You've got to leverage capital. You've got to leverage people. So in kind of looking at what are the things that I need to do, ask yourself, do I need to do this, or can I delegate it? Can I outsource it? Can I pay someone else to do it?
100%.
Because, you know, at the same time, when you're, you know, running, like we run 6-figure businesses, like your time is very limited.
Of course.
So you have to spend a lot of your time doing things that are going to bring back the biggest results, right?
100%.
So yeah, in terms of setting goals, like just, you know, can you, and I give an example in my business we spoke about this before about, in our businesses, we have what's called SOPs, which are standard operating procedures. I didn't have any up until last year, and I've been running my business 2.5 years. And I knew I needed it, but I never knew anything about what, I didn't even know what SOPs were, to be honest with you. But then I hired a member of staff who had experience in that. And she was able to come in and literally build every single procedure, how things are done for every different action within the business. And it just 10x the business. Do you know what I mean? So my step 2 would be, okay, maybe identify things that you know only you can do or need to do, and then maybe can I outsource, delegate, systemize, or give it to somebody else 100%. To do. So yeah, step 2 for me.
Yeah, I think my step 2 is quite similar, and it's sort of identifying the resources that you will require to be able to achieve your goals, and whether that be funds, like finance, whether that be an experience, location, or people or networks. Because like I'm big on, like you said, like sort of leveraging other people, whether that be their time, their experience, their knowledge, or their money, wherever it may be. So I think you need to identify that and piece together how you can sort of incorporate that. Also echoing what Jay said in the sense of what are tasks that only you can do. So saying if, you're starting your business and, okay, cool, you want to make a logo, you want to make a website, and, you want to maybe piece some content together. It'll be obviously very cheap and, you know what you want for it to do yourself. But
and a lot of people do.
You know what I mean? But is that the best use of your time?
Mm-hmm.
And maybe even like you could claim you're an expert or like a specialist in that stuff. But again, is that the best use of your time? So maybe leverage someone else's time to do those activities, and you can focus on something else that only you can do. And then now what happens is almost like, again, like talking from a project experience, you're not working simultaneously on two different tasks. And it means that you can achieve your goal faster and at a better quality and identify any issues that arise. And it's a lot more structured. It's a lot more structured. And like I said, it's all about them small wins. You know what I mean? Because now you can say, okay, cool. You go on any of those like website development sites and people who create content for you. It's like, okay, cool. Yeah, Freeman, website's done. First draft is done. Are you happy? Change this. Yeah, I haven't done in 2 days. Amazing. Website done. You can forget about that now.
Done rapido as well.
Literally, you can forget about that. Now I can focus on getting clients, client acquisition, cold calling. No, not a lot of people can do that for me. So let me do that. You know what I mean? So I think, just sort of identifying the resources that you need to be able to support you in achieving your goals.
I think what helps with that, and again, something that I listened to from a book called The Almanac by Raval Navakant.
Bad boy book, bad boy.
Just life-changing, man. But he talks about what you need to do is assign a value to your time. So basically, obviously, time is money, et cetera, et cetera. We've all heard that saying, time is money. You've got to ask yourself, the time it's going to take you to do that, is it worth your time? So essentially what he says in the book, you need to allocate a certain figure to your hourly rate. So you give yourself an hourly rate.
Yeah.
So I think he said when he was younger, he gave himself, he made sure it was just ridiculous. Because it's like, he didn't want to run around doing silly things.
Of course.
So it was like, he gave himself an hourly rate of like 5,000. And anything that was less than that, he would just make someone else do it. So I think that kind of helped me. And that's kind of the philosophy I use in my business now. Like, is this worth my time? Like back in the day, I would, go to a property and do the cleaning if the cleaner called in sick to save myself £80. I'm like, I'm worth more than £80
Of course.
for 4 hours. That's not worth my time. So when you're unsure whether you should give that task to somebody else, have a figure in your head that you're like, this is my hourly rate. And if it's less than that, I'll just pay you to do it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like before you go into properties and I used to paint. I used to go into a property and paint and just to save money. I'm like, I'd rather just pay someone to do it because this is not what I could be doing something else.
Literally.
That's going to move me in this business or move my business further quicker. So yeah, I just thought I'd kind of throw that in. I found
that's definitely worthwhile. 100%. That's definitely worthwhile. So step number 3 now. So we've talked about obviously having your priorities, and secondly we talk about leveraging other people, and we've also spoken about the resources that you will need. So the third step, how do we kind of box this off?
Boxing it off for me, consistency. Like I'm starting to, not even, it's something I've known, but like something you hear stuff and it's only when you start doing it yourself, you see how powerful and impactful it is. Whatever goals you set yourself, you're not gonna see results straight away.
Yeah, of course.
Like obviously you set yourself a deadline, but a deadline is still a deadline. It's still gonna take a while to get there, but you're never gonna hit that deadline or hit that goal unless you stay consistent. So I'm learning now that how you win is by staying consistent. A lot of people can't stay consistent. I was in the gym this morning, I was thinking to myself, like, I always get these thoughts and I'm listening to things in my ear and I'm like, anyone can start. Like we can start this podcast now, but the key is, can we stay consistent? Literally. Are we gonna be here 20 episodes from now? Of
Literally,
course we are.
100%.
But it's like consistency is what wins the race.
Yeah.
So I think for me, wrapping it up, step 3 would be like, stay consistent. Stay consistent. And that is not an easy thing to do.
It's not.
But again, I understand now that this is why your goals have to be important, because if your goals are important, why would you not stay consistent?
Of course. You're letting yourself down.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, to wrap up, consistency. Like work on it every single day. Like dedicate yourself to it every day to make sure that everything you're doing is moving you, you know, closer and closer.
Yeah,
to
obsess
that goal.
about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think my third step is quite similar, but even probably say simultaneously, I'm big on like sharing, talking about it. I remember when, like, you know, kind of people always say, you know, sort of like grind in winter, shine in summer, or like, you know, secret undercover hustler. But I feel like it's like almost a manifestation of it. It's like just speaking to people about what you want to do and how you want to do it, and just sort of manifesting it and talking about it. And I think that will support with the consistency as well. Sorry, that will support with the consistency as well. So speaking to everyone and anyone about what you do. If you're saying, I want to set up a hairdresser, someone's asked, you know, how's your day going? I want to set up a hairdresser. You know what I mean?
Putting
If you're,
it out there.
you know what I mean? You're going to the off-license shop there, you know, the boss man is saying, oh, how's your evening today? I want to set up a hairdresser. You know what I mean? So just being like, sharing your goals, being consistent about it, I think that will support, and like just envisioning, realizing and sitting in your hair shop, you know, walking through it, feeling, smelling it, understanding where you're going to be, and just making it really come true. So I think that would really help with the consistency and sort of making everything all the more real and give you that discipline and that focus and consistency to really work on your goals.
Love that. I like that. I'm gonna have to start using that one.
Yeah.
I don't talk about enough
you need
what
to.
I do, man.
You need to,
And
bro.
I can see how and why it would work, because you just never know
Who?
who,
You know what I mean?
who can help you move to that goal a bit quicker, you know, or achieve that goal a bit quicker. So
100%.
yeah, cool. All right, guys. So this is part of the show where we kind of just talk about what has inspired us. So whether it's something we've seen, read, or watched,
Yes.
you know, we pull out something from social media. It could be a tweet, it could be an Instagram post, it could be a sentence you read in a book, it could be something someone said.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, so yeah, what's
So I've got a quote, and again, as they all do, kind of gave me a bit of shivers. And it's on self-discipline, and it's by a guy called Dan Coe, so check him out. And it's, what is self-discipline? When the desire to become the highest version of yourself outweighs cheap pleasures. I'm just gonna read that again. Just in case for the people in the back that weren't listening. When the desire to become the highest version of yourself outweighs cheap pleasures. Honestly, I'm not a big tattoo guy, but I was like, if I was gonna have anything tattooed on me, that would be that. And I was just like, damn, cheap pleasures.
Why did that resonate with you so much? Because
obviously, like right now, I'm on a health. Obviously, I'm not both of us. We're like on a health journey. We want to, you know, eat a lot better. Like I'm a big foodie. So like things, and obviously, I live in the sticks. So obviously, we don't get a lot of the fancy stuff that you guys have in London. So for me, anytime I'm driving by, I'm thinking like, just like 14 chicken shops I've just driven past by. You know what I mean? So, and it's like, it's a cheap pleasure. It's cheap, and the word cheap, when someone says, "Oh, I want something cheap," it lacks quality. It lacks robustness, depth. It's not good. I wouldn't rely on something cheap. The foundations of my house being cheap, I wouldn't feel safe.
You're not cheap.
Do you see what I'm saying? So when I was like, self-discipline, it means that I want to become the highest version of myself. So anything I'm doing outweighs cheap pleasures. So that's food, my focus, my goals, doing anything outside the priority of my goals. That for me, just like, yeah, that was just like, yeah. So yeah, so just again, kind of clawing it back to the topic in terms of goal setting. I think like, again, equally having the discipline to focus on your goals and the priorities. Step one of your goals is obviously having the priorities there, and anything that's outside of that, that's cheap, don't do it. So yeah, that's
cool.
That was it for me.
Man. Dan Coe, man.
Dan Coe.
Love Dan Coe, man. Cool. My one
What's
was
yours
this one was about like time. So, you know, obviously this podcast is about personal development and growth, but you can only develop and grow if you use your time wisely, right? Like we're all given 24 hours in a day.
Yeah.
You get 24 hours, I get 24 hours. The difference between where you are in the next 5 years and where I am is what we do with our time, right?
No, literally.
So this quote is, start thinking about your time as an investment. 2 hours of Netflix, zero return on investment. 2 hours of learning a skill, huge return on investment. Most people think they only need money to start investing. know, I'm not opposed to watching a little Netflix, but I know people binge that type of stuff. So you got to be asking yourself, what are you doing with your time? Again, is you binging all these different series on Netflix helping you achieve that goal? Probably not. Probably not. So look at your time as an investment. And I've got a thing that I've recently started saying where my most important things are my time and my energy. Use them wisely. And I feel like a lot of people don't use their time wisely. They don't. They're on the phone. They're scrolling social media. They're binging this. They're doing things that ultimately doesn't help you grow. And I think that leads back because they don't have goals. Yeah. Or if they do have goals, they're not serious about their goals. They're not. If you're not serious about your goals, you're not a serious person. So simple. This is where we're going with this. So yeah, that there was powerful. Yeah, like that's deep. You don't need money to invest your time. That's so deep. You know? Yeah. So yeah, that was it for me, man. I like that. Yeah, it's a nice, short and sweet episode, this one. Very digestible, I'd like to think. I think like a lot of people can learn about this. But yeah, I think that's a wrap, peeps. Again, like I said, always in the comments, if there's any topics that you want us to discuss about or deliberate, please let us know or just drop us a DM. And then, yeah, love, and appreciate. Yeah, before I forget, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Leave your comments in the post. You can also follow us on our own sort of personal social medias as well, if you want to kind of get more of an insight into what we do and our day-to-day thinking and our school of thoughts and stuff like that. Check us out. Peace.